Today I'm going to be ranking every single carbine in Battlefield 6 into a tier list. And whoa, that's a big tier list for just 8 weapons. That's right, I'm going to be ranking the carbines as precisely as possible against each other and doing a really careful analysis of the benefits and drawbacks of each and every one of them. By the end of the video, you'll know exactly which carbines are the best and which engagements they excel in. The first carbine you get access to in Battlefield 6 is the M4A1, and it's a really special one, in more ways than just one. I instantly fell in love with this thing during the BF6 beta and wasn't surprised at all to see it quickly becoming a meta pick when the game launched. I've been a huge fan of the M4A1 in nearly every game I've played for decades now, so it wasn't much of a surprise that it felt great in BF6 too. That great feel is in large part thanks to the 900 RPM rate of fire with a very lethal optimal kill time of about 0.2 seconds. I love running and gunning and just melting players back to the spawn screen with this thing. The 900 RPM stat is the fastest RPM of any of the carbines, and it puts it near the best TTK of any of the carbines up close, and even out to some pretty significant ranges. Unfortunately, the M4A1 has a pretty bad precision stat to go along with it, so especially at those really long ranges, the bloom can get a bit out of hand. Luckily though, it still works fantastically well if you're tap firing, and I found it's not too tough at all to get some really long range kills with a little bit of trigger discipline. In terms of attachments, you kind of have two main build options here. You can go the traditional route of using the lightened suppressor with some recoil control attachments to help that poor precision stat, and by all means that is a great option. It's the way that I use the M4 most of the time, and it will turn your gun into a melting laser beam at even pretty long ranges. And up close, you can absolutely melt squads of enemies at lightning fast speeds thanks to the higher rate of fire. Suppressors are just amazing in this game, and I work them onto just about every gun that I can. They prevent you from being shown in the game world as a spot from firing, and they also won't show you on the minimap either as long as you're more than 15 meters away from the enemy. In practice, it almost feels like an invisibility cloak once you unlock one and start to equip it. So to me, it's basically a no-brainer attachment on just about every build. But if you really do enjoy that super close quarters playstyle, you also have another pretty compelling alternative build with the M4A1. This thing's kinda special since it accepts the short barrel attachment to additionally improve that already good hipfire accuracy. Sure, there's other carbines that also have access to the short barrel, but the M4A1 by far makes the best use of it thanks to its exceptionally high lethality up close. In general, good hipfire allows you to keep that FOV wide open and be more aware of your surroundings, while also running around way faster than the players who are scoped in. So instead of building out the normal setup to optimize for ADS speed, control, and accuracy, you can lean into that close quarter strength to get an unbelievably consistent experience when firing from the hip up close. In Battlefield 6, we have a pretty small headshot multiplier in the game and a very high body shot damage, and with a maxed out hipfire build, you can absolutely shred your opponents from significant ranges without ever looking down the sights. It's not really my personal playstyle, I prefer those more medium range engagements, but if you do like to get right up in the enemy's face, it can be a great build option. Either way you build it, you really can't go wrong. I love the M4A1, and it was the first weapon in the game that I leveled all the way up to 40 to get all of the attachments. It's a great gun, and it's starting off the tier list strong in the A tier. Honestly, I'm so tempted to put this thing in the S tier, but one of the entries coming up later on the list just outclasses it overall. The second carbine on our list is a little bit of a plot twist compared to the M4A1, and it's got a dark secret. Whereas the M4A1 vaporizes enemies up close, the M277 melts your opponents very consistently from much further away. That's thanks to its insanely long 720 RPM 4-shot kill up to 75 meters for a blistering fast 0.25 TTK. This is actually amongst the best long-range kill time of any of the weapons in Battlefield 6, and it's definitely about the best of the carbines. It maintains a 5-shot kill to even longer ranges, and at 720 RPM, the 5-shot kill time at 0.33 seconds, if you can actually land it, is still amongst the best kill times in the whole game. The M277 really is the range king of the carbines. It also comes with the best suppressor being the lightened suppressor already unlocked, so I'm really happy that you don't have to grind that one out. However, this dominance over all ranges does come at a steep price. And to help you understand this, let me pull out my handy spreadsheet. Don't worry, this is not going to become a super nerdy video, but rest assured I've really done my homework when it comes to the data on these. So here's a look at the base stats of every carbine. So the M277 has an annoyingly small magazine, a terrible accuracy stat, matched with a very aggressive bloom, and a pretty long grind to get the much needed attachments to help out this weapon. In practice, this means you're limited to at most 2 and potentially 3 kills while burst firing if you basically never miss. It's nice to have the option to go for the larger magazine, but if you're building it out for the longer range playstyle, I think those points are maybe better spent fixing the accuracy and recoil. I mean, just try firing this thing at a target that's very far away. You're going to notice that reticle bouncing all over the place. By the way, that 21 precision stat is the lowest among all carbines, and it makes it absolutely mandatory to have some good attachments because at base the M277 really does struggle. So that means you're kind of stuck with that 20 round magazine, and it's often going to get you in some tricky situations if you're fighting multiple opponents. The main question of the M277 really boils down to, should you grind this thing out? Good attachments are going to massively help you, but if you've got limited time, there's really just some better, easier to grind options that perform just about the same or better in the other categories. Since this is a carbine only tier list, I have to rank it against the other carbines, and that's kind of challenging. Because on the one hand, the M277 is really special since it's the only one that's able to really compete at those super long ranges, so if you're able to land your shots, it gets some serious points for that. But then again, you probably shouldn't be sniping people with carbines anyway, since there's really just better options for the extreme ranges in other categories. And if we're looking at the more typical carbine engagement ranges, there are better, more reliable options out there. The M4A1 deals the same damage per bullet at base, but it does it 180 RPM faster, which makes a massive difference in the felt TTK. This puts the M277 in somewhat of a strange position where it's just kinda okay across the board with a gimmick of being better than average at the longer distances. And that's where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to be using a carbine anyway. So I'm gonna rank this one in the B tier. It can be exceptional in the right hands, but looking at it as a whole, there are just better options on the table. The AK-205. Ooh, yeah, this one is unfortunate. Honestly, it's a bit of a tragedy. I mean, if you look at the stats, it seems like we're in for a real treat. Look at that precision stat. This gun is basically already a laser beam without any attachments. And that's good, right? It has the fastest muzzle velocity of any carbine, which also helps you land those bullets at range on moving targets. And it feels just amazing to shoot with the super low recoil, until you actually see the damage numbers popping up on your screen. There's really just one thing you need to know about this to get a pretty good picture of where the AK-205 sits on the tier list. 20 damage? Wow. You might be thinking, well, at least it's probably pretty good at the long ranges because of that really high precision stat, right? Well, nope. That damage number falls off a cliff, giving it the worst TTK of any carbine at basically any range. I mean, this thing kills so slow, it truly does feel like a pea shooter. Up close, the TTK starts off at about 0.42 seconds, and then quickly slows all the way down to over 0.6 seconds. That's insane in a game like BF6 where some weapons kill faster than even the most elite gamers' reaction times. The M4A1 would have killed you approximately 2.5 times before you're done killing your first opponent with the AK-205. And that's not even mentioning some of the crazy combinations in the game that can 2-tap at blistering speeds. With the AK-205, you're going to get outgunned by just about any other weapon the opponent might be using. I suppose there's an argument to be made for some of the ammo upgrades like hollow point or even synthetic tip rounds to improve the TTK, and since it is so stable, it's potentially viable to land more consecutive headshots than with some other weapons that have way more recoil and bloom. But needing to both invest so many points to upgrade the ammo type and land consistent headshots just to be somewhat competitive with the other weapons makes no sense to me, especially when the competition can drop you in 3 body shots with no expensive upgrades at all. For some context, it fires at the same 720 RPM of the SG-553, but you need to invest 30 points into synthetic tip ammo and hit all 3 headshots just to match the same TTK of 3 body shots up close with the SG. So yeah, I don't really see the point of using this thing with the current damage model. If it ever got a small buff to the damage per bullet so that it could actually kill faster and still retain some of that amazing accuracy and recoil, this thing could be a monster. I truly do think it's really fun to use because it's one of the few weapons you can fire at full auto from so far away, but until a buff shows up someday, it's gonna land in the F tier. Boo! Now that you've seen a few ratings, I do think you might be starting to notice a pattern. In general, guns in Battlefield 6 either have super fast kill times and do a lot of damage while having lower precision, or they do less damage but are very accurate. So it's a bit of a balance. If you can't land your shots due to bad accuracy, then you might as well be using a slower killing weapon but with better accuracy. At the same time, DICE has added a couple of carbines which really do break the mold, being both very accurate and killing really quickly. You've kinda seen an example of this with the M4A1, but there's an even more broken carbine coming up soon on the list. For the AK-205, the high accuracy just isn't that attractive when we can get a good enough accuracy on most other carbines that kill more than twice as fast at the same time. That's why this one's in the F tier. Now, that's not to say it's impossible to get kills with. I think in general the guns are pretty competitive with each other in this game compared to many other FPS games on the market. But it also just doesn't make much sense to me to bunch everything into the S and A tiers, so we're going to spread them out a bit more to see the differences more clearly. Just keep in mind that any weapon in the game can be effective if you're willing to put the time into leveling it up and mastering the playstyle. But some of these are just clearly better than others at the baseline, so we're going to use a wider tier list choice to illustrate these differences. Speaking of the differences between highly accurate pea shooters and lethal but uncontrollable bullet hoses, our next carbine falls towards the bottom of the list for the exact opposite reason of the AK-205. This one is the M17A2, and just by the looks of it, you'd think it's a really powerful gun. I mean, look at that beefy 33 damage per bullet, and wow, that recoil is really intense. Based on what I just said, you'd expect it to dish out some serious damage. And yes, you'd be right, it does kill pretty quick up close in just 3 shots. But then we have to look at the damage fall off, and yeah, that's where the problem really starts. Sure, the 3 bullet kill time until about 10 meters is great at 0.18 seconds, but already around 30 meters that kill time is doubled to 0.35 seconds, which is actually worse than average. Since the 417 has below average stats, we would expect it to kill pretty quickly, but it really just doesn't do that very well. It has a very steep damage fall off to the point where it actually kills pretty slowly outside of the near point blank close ranges. At the same time, you have bad precision, an absolutely tiny magazine, and nothing really special about this gun. When using it, you're going to have a decent carbine up close for just 1 kill, and then you're immediately going to need to reload, and if your opponent's far away, well, you're just kinda cooked. You can hardly even fix the base 20 bullets in a magazine. At best you have a 25 round magazine, and that's still worse than the base magazine sizes of most of the other carbines. While playing with this gun for the video, I got killed so many times when I just didn't have enough bullets for a second player approaching me. It gets really frustrating. Honestly, I don't really get why so many players seem to love this gun. I did enjoy it in the beta when we only had 3 options, but now with 8 and counting in the release version of the game, I just feel like there's so many better options on the table. If you're a true believer in this gun and think I'm somehow missing something, please let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely stumped at why so many people sing its praises. Sure, it might not be as horrible as the previous AK-205, but to me there's still basically no compelling reason to use it, so I'm going to put it in the D tier. The GRT-BC is the last carbine that you unlock from the XP leveling system, and judging by the community's reception, I think my rating might be a bit controversial. Some of the other creators have ranked this thing really low, but I'm not really sure why. If we look at the stats, the closest competitor is the M4A1, which people seem to love. Since the M4 is unlocked so early, I would expect the average gamer to have a much higher level on the M4 than the GRT, so that might lead you to believe that the GRT is somehow way worse. But if you think about it, the damage model is practically the same, with the GRT shooting just 70 RPM slower. This means it takes just about 5 milliseconds more time per bullet than the M4A1, leading to a very slightly longer kill time. Honestly, I do notice the slight difference in game when comparing the two, but I have to admit it's a pretty close battle for lethality. In return, the GRT gets just a little bit better precision and control, making it a little bit more manageable. It also has a bullpup design, meaning you can reload while you're still aiming down sights, although I'm not really sure how useful this feature is. It's also one of the very few weapons in Battlefield which can get the hand stop attachment to enable it to shoot while running, but again, the usefulness is a bit questionable to me. I would recommend the usual attachment setup, but unfortunately the GRT doesn't have that shortened barrel, so if you feel like making a hipfire build, you might want to stick to the M4A1. The fact that they left out the short barrel really does puzzle me a bit because it would have been a match made in heaven with the hand stop. Without the shortened barrel, getting those hipfire kills is a lot harder, and I don't know why DICE set the gun up like this. It feels like a bit of a missed opportunity. All in all, most of the things I've said about the M4A1 still kinda apply to the GRT. It's great up close, just slightly outclassed by the M4, and it still performs really well at range, and it's also very consistent and reliable. It even has arguably slightly better base stats. It's a great gun, and I think maybe the M4A1 has a little bit of selection bias since players unlock it so early, which is why the GRT falls a bit under the radar. Despite the super similar stats on paper, it feels just a little bit worse than the M4A1 to me, so I'm going to drop it just slightly below it on our list down to the A- tier. Now we're getting into the challenge unlocked carbines, and the first one is the QBZ-192. And I'm kinda confused. Why exactly is the QBZ considered a challenge reward? It feels kind of more like a challenge punishment. I mean, look at this. It does the same exact damage as the M4A1 at all ranges, but it has 130 less RPM. So what else might be rewarding about this thing? Maybe the accuracy? Well, it is quite accurate of a carbine, but are you ready to pay for it with the worse than average kill time? Sure, it's not quite as bad as the AK-205, so you're not immediately doomed against literally every other carbine in the game.
Vindication!
But then again, how are you going to feel when the M4A1 just melts you and you have no answer to it? Unfortunately, you can't even get the best-in-class lightened suppressor on the QBZ that reduces that recoil buildup. And the barrel selection is shockingly small too. It's almost like they forgot to add some attachments to this thing. So all around, it's a very mid weapon. It does have good accuracy, I'll give it that, and the magazine size is in line with what we'd expect for carbines, so there's no penalty there either. Compared to the M417, it does feel quite a bit better thanks to its higher accuracy, and the higher RPM means it's less punishing if you do miss. And of course, it's way better than the AK-205.
Stop! He's already dead!
So that's why I'm going to rank it in the C tier. It's a little bit better than the M417, but still not great in any aspect. And it doesn't have any tricks up its sleeve like the M277, so I still don't think it's worthy of the B tier either. The next carbine on our list, the SG553R, has kind of a weird problem. It's not the range, no, it has pretty good range. It's not the kill time either, no, the SG absolutely melts, especially up close. It's not the magazine size, the accuracy, the recoil pattern, no, really none of that. The problem with the SG is that it doesn't have any problems, it's borderline broken. It's like they decided to copy paste one of the other carbines and just completely remove all the downsides. It has the same damage model as the M417, but a bigger base magazine and the potential to go all the way up to 40 bullets. It has slightly better accuracy and a way faster RPM. It can delete enemies in just 3 body shots up close at 720 RPM for an insane 0.16 second melt, and the SG does that while still maintaining a pretty competitive damage profile from further away. If you equip the hollow point ammo and land 2 shots up close, you can kill your opponent in just 0.1 seconds. That's insane. Honestly, I think the ammo upgrade is just overkill and I go for other options, but with the whole package, it's hands down the best carbine option up to about 40 meters and still pretty decent beyond that point. So if you want to choose just one carbine to max it out and carry you in all game modes, the SG should definitely be your pick. Almost all attachments are available for you, and personally, I really like the lightened suppressor with a higher accuracy build. It helps me to sneak up on opponents and surprise them with an absolute melt of a TTK. It's unbelievably effective in pretty much any game mode. Unfortunately, it is a bit of a grind to get this gun. You have to complete both of the carbine specific quests, where the second one asks you to get headshots with carbines, which can take a while. At least though, this one is truly deserving of the term reward. Once you do get this gun and get some attachments going, I doubt this thing's going to be leaving your loadout anytime soon. I was going to put the M4A1 up in the S tier until I got my hands on the SG, and now I'm pretty sure it's the only carbine worthy of that S tier rank. Last up on our list is the carbine from the Battle Pass, the SOR300SC. It's free to unlock, and if you got Battlefield Pro, you just need one more level to unlock it. It has a low fire rate, but on the bright side it features a very high precision stat. It deals the same damage per bullet as the SG that we've just seen, and the same as the M417, so combined with the great precision stat and the good control set, you'd be led to believe that this thing is a really good carbine, right? Well, don't be fooled. The first hint of something being up is that it has a super slow fire rate. This thing shoots at a full 120 RPM slower than the SG, which is a huge deal. Those 3 body shots needed for a kill up close are going to be dished out super slow. But then the biggest problem of this gun is actually felt more at range. It has a horrible damage fall off, like the worst damage drop off over distance of any of the carbines. So even though it's very accurate, it's completely ineffective from far away. I would probably avoid any lanes longer than about 30 meters with this thing. Inside of 30 meters, it has a pretty acceptable kill time, and with the extremely high accuracy, you're pretty guaranteed to hit that kill time. If you're further away though, maybe just run. And if you start missing even a single bullet, that 600 RPM is pretty slow, and it will significantly extend your already pretty bad kill time. I think that's actually one of the reasons that the faster rate of fire weapons are generally more popular in Battlefield 6. You're punished a little bit less for missing a shot. And in the SOR's case, that's a pretty big deal. I mean, you could get killed twice by the M277 before you're done with your first kill with the SOR, even if you're hitting all of your shots. That's just not good. It's so not good that I'm going to be ranking the SOR in the C tier despite the pretty good performance up close. It's not horrible to the point where you're going to immediately lose if you have it equipped, but there's simply much better options out there. The high accuracy just doesn't justify those horrible kill times from the medium distance onwards. So I think you're just better off with some other carbines on the list. Good luck grinding for that SG, and let me know in the comments what other tier lists you'd like to see. Next up, check out my sniper tier list and see if the grind for that PSR sniper is actually worth landing all those long range headshots or not.